You hear that, Samson? Beautiful.
You're going to want to grab yourself some heavier weight fabric. I recommend duck canvas or a heavier weight twill. And I recommend grabbing about a yard just to be safe. You're going to want to grab yourself 2.5 yards of 1-inch webbing. You'll need 1/4 yard of 1/4 inch foam for the straps. Two 1-inch strap adjusters. 2 zippers, and I recommend grabbing bigger zippers. We're using a 22-inch and a 28-inch zipper because we're going to be trimming the ends off in the end anyways. And finally, your pattern, and this pattern is available at properfitclothing.com, and the link will be in the description. And all those supplies we just listed will also be in the description, so go on and check that out. Getting started, go ahead and trace your pattern and cut it out. Each panel shows the recommended amount you want to cut out, so go ahead and follow those instructions. Grab one of your zipper panels and also your zipper, and it's going to be your 28-inch zipper. Place the right sides together and go ahead and pin that on. Once you have it pinned down and lined up, go ahead and do a straight stitch all the way down that edge. Next, take the second zipper panel and place it on the opposite side with right sides together and do the exact same thing, stitch all the way down that edge. And make sure that both of the zipper panels are lined up. And as you can see, the zipper is way longer than the zipper panels, but that's totally fine because we're going to be trimming those edges off. Now we're going to be adding a top stitch to both sides, so go ahead and fold that edge over and stitch right on top. And then go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Next, go ahead and grab your side panel, and you're going to want to place it right sides together and stitch across that zipper. And I recommend pinning it on so that way it stays centered, and then go ahead and do a straight stitch. Go ahead and grab the opposite end of the side panel, and what you're going to do is the same thing for the other side, but make sure you have the zipper on the inside so that way you don't stitch it out. And once you have it lined up and pinned together, go ahead and stitch across that edge. And now you can go ahead and trim off those zipper ends. So we're going to be using a double fold bias tape binder to clean up those edges, and you can definitely get these for domestic sewing machines too. We're going to have links in the description. So go ahead and cut out long pieces of bias tape that are the right measurements to the width of your binder. The other option is to use a bias tape making kit, and this is where you pretty much just make your own bias tape. And it comes with a presser foot that helps you attach the bias tape to your garment. And it's pretty simple to use. All you have to do is cut a strip, feed it through, and iron it. And after that, it works the same as the bias tape. You just fold it over and sew it on, or you use that attachment. And this attachment is also available for domestic sewing machines, so go ahead and check the description out. We have a link for both the industrial and the domestic, and all you have to do is pretty much run it through and you're good to go. And do this for both sides. Once you have your bias tape on, go ahead and fold it over, and we're going to do a top stitch across that edge. And go ahead and repeat this for the other side. Next, we're going to be putting together the pocket, so go ahead and grab the main pocket and the top part of the pocket panel and your zipper. And this zipper is way too long, but we're just using it because it's the only one we could find. So go ahead and place the right sides together and go ahead and stitch that zipper onto the bottom half of that panel. Then place the right sides together for the top half of that panel, pin it on, and stitch across. Now we're going to go ahead and fold down that top panel so that way it covers the zipper. And to make sure you're folding it down far enough, go ahead and grab a side panel for reference. And then once you have it in place, pin it down. And what we're going to do is sewing across the top half of that zipper. So go ahead and sew right on that zipper all the way across. And then for the bottom, we're going to go ahead and add a top stitch there as well, just like we did on the other zipper panels. Next, go ahead and move that zipper towards the center, and what we're going to do is pin those sides down and sew those sides together right on the edge. And stitch as close as you can to those sides, because this is just holding that flap down so it's easier to add on the side panels. Now go ahead and grab your 4 side pocket panels, and what we're going to do is start stitching them together. So place the right sides together of 2 of them and stitch across. And then go ahead, open it up, fold that seam over, and do a top stitch across. And then go ahead and grab another side panel, add it onto one of the ends, stitch across, top stitch, and do the same thing, and keep repeating this step until you have all 4 connected together. Once you have all your side panels sewn together, go ahead and pin it onto your pocket panel, and what you're going to want to do is line up those corners, and then you're going to sew all the way around. And you're going to want to sew it about 1/4 inch to the edge and just sew all the way around that pocket. And now we're going to go ahead and add the double-sided bias tape to that raw edge, and this is going to help us add it onto the bag. Now you're going to want to go ahead and pin it onto your bag panel, and we're going to sew it right on that bias tape. And you can kind of position it where you want. We lined it up more towards the bottom with even edges on the bottom and the sides. And just stitch all the way around in a square right on that bias tape. And there you go, your pocket is attached, and you can totally mess with the dimensions of the side panels or the size of the pocket. It's super easy to do to adjust this pattern and to make it a pocket that you really like. Next, we're going to be making the bag strap, so go ahead and grab your strap panel, fold it in half, and what we're going to be doing is stitching right down that edge at 1/4 inch. Go ahead and move that seam to the center of the back, and then grab about 2.5 inches of webbing, place your bag connector onto it, and then put it at the center of that seam. And what we're going to do is stitch across. Then go ahead and fold those corners in and stitch across again about 1/4 inch down from that other stitch. Next, go ahead and pull the right side out and cut a piece of foam that's the exact same size as the inside of that strap. And then go ahead and feed that foam down into that strap.
We would follow every toast with a song.
And make sure you leave about a ½ inch at the top so that way you can sew it onto the bag. And what we're going to do is sew across that webbing so it adds a little extra strength. Now we're going to go ahead and sew exactly down the center of that strap. And this is going to lock in that foam so it's not moving all around on you. And there you go, repeat this process for your other strap and you're good to go. Grab your side panel and your front panel, and what you're going to want to do is mark the centers on both top and bottom. And what you're going to want to do is line both of those centers up and then go ahead and pin it all the way around. And once you have it pinned all the way around, go ahead and stitch all the way around at a ½ inch and just work it slowly, because this is the hardest part of the entire bag. And once you do this a few times, it becomes super easy. So just take your time and stitch all the way around that edge. And I like to pop the right side out so that way you can take a look at it and make sure that all the edges look clean. Next, we're going to go ahead and add those straps to the back panel, and I like to space them about a ½ inch from the center. And you're going to stitch as close as you can to that edge. And you're also going to want to cut about a 5 to 7 inch piece of 1 inch webbing and add it in there for a little hook. Then cut 2 webbing strips for the bottom connectors, and we're going to place these at a 45-degree angle about 1 inch up from the bottom. Go ahead and stitch as close as you can to that edge. And I recommend cutting these strips about 3/4 of a yard because you can always trim them after. Go ahead and grab your front panel and make sure that zipper is open so that way you can flip it right side out when you're done. And what you're going to do is mark that panel, both top and bottom, like you did for the front panel, and go ahead and pin it on. And just like sewing on the front panel, it's the same exact way. Take your time and sew all the way around that edge.
That's an interesting twist.
You hear that, Samson? Beautiful.
And then go ahead and clean up all those edges on the inside, making them nice and even, trimming off the webbing, trimming off the straps, because we're going to be adding the bias tape all the way around both of those edges to clean them up and also give it extra strength. Once you have all your bias tape on, go ahead and flip the right side out through that opening in the zipper. Go ahead and grab your bottom straps and feed it through your adjusters. And do that for both sides. And to make sure they don't slide out, go ahead and fold that end over twice and do a stitch across. And then repeat this for both straps. And there you have it, your backpack is complete. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think, and if you have any ideas you want to see us do, definitely send them our way. I'll try to make it happen for you. But until then, we're going to keep the videos coming at you, so we'll see you next time.